Following the headlines for this hour on VTV News, Prime Minister hosts special advisors to Japan-Vietnam Parliamentary Friendship Alliance. Vietnam's oldest centenarians offer tips for longevity. In our news, Houthi vows to attack more shipping lanes.
Broadcasting from Hanoi, the capital of Vietnam. VTV News starts right now.
Hello, it's 8 a.m. local time in Hanoi, and you're watching VTV News. Prime Minister Phie hosted a reception in Hanoi on March 14 for Takebe Tsutomu, special advisor to the Japan-Vietnam Parliamentary Friendship Alliance, who is visiting Vietnam in his capacity as honorary chair of the organizing board of the 9th Japan-Vietnam Festival in Ho Chi Minh City. The Prime Minister held the festival as the first major event during the inaugural year of the Vietnam-Japan Comprehensive Strategic Partnership, which attracted nearly 400,000 visitors on March 9 to 10th. He thanked Takebe for his wholehearted, inspirational, and constructive contributions to fostering friendly Vietnam-Japan cooperation, especially regarding the Vietnam-Japan University VJU construction. The Prime Minister proposed that Japan consider allocating new generation official development assistant ODA capital to a project to build a rail route from downtown Hanoi to the Hoa Lạc High-Tech Park as soon as possible. Takebe, for his part, agreed with the host proposals and pledged his continuous support for cooperation with Vietnam, especially in areas with promising opportunities, as mentioned by the Prime Minister. On Friday morning, the 31st session of the National Assembly Standing Committee, chaired by National Assembly Chairman Vương Đình Huệ, continued to discuss the draft law on road traffic order and safety. Most deputies agreed to prohibit those under the influence of alcohol from driving. They emphasized the need to learn from the pilot of Resolution 73 on car license plate auctions and evaluate the condition for legalization. Regarding the provision that required submitting at least 70% of penalties for traffic violations and at least 30% of proceeds from license plate auctions to the national budget for traffic safety, the deputies requested greater clarity to ensure consistencies with the law on fees and charges and the law on sanctions for administrative violations. The National Assembly Standing Committee also proposed further research on the impacts of new regulations on vehicle emissions and a review of the legal aspects of establishing the Fund for Damage Reduction from Road Traffic Accidents. During her visit to the United States, Vice State President Võ Thị Ánh Xuân engaged in meetings with prominent figures, including President pro tempore of the U.S. Senate, Patty Murray, Under Secretary of State for Public Diplomacy and Public Affairs, Elizabeth M. Allen, representative from the U.S. Department of Agriculture, and the Executive Director of UNICEF. During these discussions, the Vice State President reiterated Vietnam's recognition of the United States as a strategically significant partner. She advocated for the active implementation of agreements previously reached by senior leaders from both countries during President Joe Biden's visit to Vietnam the previous year. Additionally, she expressed Vietnam's desires for the United States to share experiences, support agriculture transformations, eliminate trade defense measures and technical barriers affecting Vietnamese agricultural products, and assist in facilitating access for Vietnamese agricultural products to the U.S. market. Furthermore, Vice State President Võ Thị Ánh Xuân signed a memorandum of understanding on cultural cooperation and people-to-people relations between Vietnam's Ministry of Culture, Sport, and Tourism and the U.S. Department of State. Tax incentive for corporate income tax, import-export tax, or reductions and even exemption of land rental fees are the policies being implemented by Bình Phước province to attract foreign invested enterprises to this province. These policies have helped the province gain the attention of many foreign companies at the forum connecting Bình Phước with European businesses. More to follow.
Over 100 managers of leading European companies such as De Hughes and Big Dutchman participated in this forum. Many companies are particularly interested in agricultural development and processing projects.
Most Eurocham members are in Ho Chi Minh City, and many companies see opportunities to connect and use products, especially agricultural products, of companies currently focusing on exporting products to the European region.
European companies are actively seeking partners in Vietnam. Therefore, helping domestic enterprises connect with FDI companies to form value chains is identified as a new way to attract foreign investment in the province. The locality is especially focused on the digitalization of high-tech agricultural production.
Development progress is achieved once businesses have favorable conditions for development. We strive to create equal opportunities for FDI and Vietnamese companies, especially local companies. The National Assembly passed a resolution to implement expressways passing through Bình Phước. I think it is a chance for the province's restructuring and investment in agriculture, industry, and commercial services to realize its great potential and be further promoted.
To attract FDI enterprises, Bình Phước province commits to promoting 4 platforms: good infrastructure, good human resources, good policies, and good public services. Last year, the locality attracted 48 FDI projects, achieving nearly 300% of the annual plan and recording the highest average growth rate in the southeast region.
The 500 kilovolt Circuit 3 transmission line project extending from Quảng Trạch, Quảng Bình to Phố Nối, Hưng Yên is a key project. The Prime Minister has established the completion deadline for the project as June this year. Currently, the project operates 3 shifts and 4 teams to shorten the time for each phase and ensure progress as planned.
The progress of building transmission tower number 22 in contract package number 10 was accelerated, reducing the construction time to 10 days ahead of schedule. This tower is part of the 500 kilovolt Circuit 3 transmission line project from Nam Dinh 1 to Ton Hoa.
Following the Prime Minister's directives, the involvement of local authorities at all levels has intensified, along with the local support. Currently, all 94 construction sites we are working on have been simultaneously deployed. We commit to completing construction by April 30th.
Localities have finished site clearance for all of the transmission tower construction sites. At the same time, the corridors will be cleared by the end of March. These were achieved with great effort.
To ensure the power connection deadline of June 2024, as committed to by the Prime Minister, the Ministry of Industry and Trade and EVN will hand over the land for the entire corridor by March 30th. Recently issued Decree 27 has resolved difficulties, allowing temporary use of forests to deploy temporary roads and material storage areas. All foundation work will be completed by April 30th. Towers will be completed by May 30th, and all cable pulling and electrification will be finished by June 30th.
The large volume of work, tight deadline, and involvement of multiple localities present no small challenge to completing the project. This requires the determination of sectors, localities, and relevant agencies at all levels to concentrate all resources and urgently carry out the project according to plan.
The Vietnam National University Ho Chi Minh City, or VNU Ho Chi Minh City, and U.S. Technology Enterprise signaled a CITO Memorandum of Understanding on March 15 to enhance the VNU Ho Chi Minh City Semiconductor's training and research capacity. Among the 5 cooperation areas under the Memorandum of Understanding, Sypnosis, one of the world's leading electronic design automation EDA companies, will share training, textbooks, and license the use of chip design tools and software for VNU Ho Chi Minh City students. It will receive students for internships and introduce job opportunities at domestic and foreign businesses for semiconductor engineers graduating from the school. The U.S. enterprise will assist the VNU Ho Chi Minh City in training young lecturers in semiconductor design by the short course named Train the Trainer. ASEAN is Vietnam's second largest market for fruit and vegetable export, following China, as stated by the Ministry of Industry and Trade. In 2023, Vietnam exported fruit and vegetable worth nearly $298 million to ASEAN, focusing primarily on four markets: Thailand, Malaysia, Singapore, and Laos. This market geographical proximity to Vietnam offers advantages in logistic costs and import tax rate, which vary between 0% and 5%. However, these are also highly competitive markets, since the product categories in each market are quite similar. As a result, only processed fruit and vegetables or fresh products can be exported during off-season periods. In Hoài Nhơn Town, the delegation from the Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development and Bình Định Province recently discussed implementing the European Commission's EC recommendations on combating illegal, unreported, and unregulated fishing, or IUU fishing. More to follow.
From October 2023 to the present, Bình Định Province has not violated foreign territorial waters. Over 320 ships that lost connection for more than 6 hours have been detected. Administrative penalties have been imposed for all cases where the connection was lost for more than 10 days, with a fine of $7,000.
Bình Định is a leading example for 27 provinces and cities to follow. However, the province still needs to be resolute in handling cases.
In June, the EC inspection team will conduct their 5th inspection. This is a crucial opportunity for Vietnam to remove the yellow card for fisheries exploitation. Consequently, Vietnam must adhere strictly to the EC's recommendations. These include no fishing by vessels that are unregistered, unlicensed for exploitation, or uninspected, and ensuring no ship loses connection for more than 10 days.
In recent years, only 10.2% of violations have been handled. The EC places great emphasis on this issue, thus, we must do better.
The delegation from the Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development inspected the storm shelter in the Tam Quan region, which is part of the ministry's Sustainable Fisheries Development project.
Coming up next on VTV News, Vietnam oldest centenarian offer tip for longevity. And efforts to revive coast villages paid off in Bình Thuận. The 2024 National Press Festival kicked off on Friday morning in Ho Chi Minh City. It's the biggest press conference to date, with 600 participating press agencies across 112 booths. Alongside traditional journalism products, each agency showcases new offerings such as AI-generated information spreads. This year's theme is Vietnamese press pioneer innovations for the revolutionary cause of the party and people. The event also served as a platform for journalists from all over Vietnam to exchange experiences and engage with the public to enhance their service quality. March 15th marks Vietnam Movie Day, the film that has most excited the public recently, Peach Blossom, Phở, and Piano, has surpassed a milestone, raking in nearly $850,000 in revenue. This is the highest box office take ever recorded for a state budget production. However, the success was achieved without the voluntary efforts of some private distribution units, as there hasn't been formal cooperation among producers. This demonstrates shortcomings in the public-private cooperation in the film industry.
The 2015 movie Yellow Flowers on the Green Grass a product of public-private cooperation, gained fame for its quality and revenue. However, this success could not be replicated because just 2 years later, the decree on implementing the law on management and use of state property was issued. Cooperation required cumbersome and impractical procedures such as asset valuation and branding.
Films without adequate legal regulations and corridors have not received concerted support from distributors and theaters.
Culture is not within the scope of the law, let alone private investment in the film industry. Although the recent cinema law defines cinema as a cultural industry, it has not yet been put into practice.
The cinema legislation includes the factor of socialization, but the guiding decree does not. That also leads to a bottleneck.
When Peach Blossom, Phie, and Piano was released, we were reminded to seriously consider sharing state films benefits with private film sectors.
Recently, Ho Chi Minh City has begun piloting the public-private partnership mechanism in cultural fields, including cinema. While amending the capital law, Hanoi will also introduce public-private partnerships in cultural projects. Hopefully, this will inspire good practices to overcome the current drags on the film industry.
Over 10,000 hectares of forest, including protected forests in the Long Xuyên Quadrangles and Hòn Đất district in Kiên Giang province, are at extremely high fire risk level 4 to 5. The intense heat has depleted all water sources, making fire prevention and firefighting efforts difficult. As a result, the only effective solution is to enhance patrols and security forces. Despite the round-the-clock operations of 3 large pumping stations in the area, the water supply is inadequate to compensate for the evaporation. Consequently, the area of dry forest at critical fire risk is expanding. Forest rangers are also taking proactive measures by pre-burning 25 kilometers of fire-resistant runway and excavating 2,100 square meters of water discharge in the Melaleuca forest area to limit potential fire spread. The Sima Ceremony is a vital event for a Khmer Theravada Buddhist community. The ceremony involves placing marble stones around the pagoda to demarcate the sacred boundaries of the pagoda grounds. Within this area, monks conduct holy rituals. Consequently, the ceremony draws numerous Buddhist monks, providing an opportunity to uphold the traditional cultural values of the Khmer people.
During the ritual, monks carry the boundary stones around the outside of the pagoda's main hall 3 times before bringing them inside. The boundary is defined by 9 holes surrounding the pagoda. Throughout the 3-day Sima ceremony, Buddhists place offerings that symbolize their aspirations for the next life into these 9 holes.
I put in a mirror, comb, notebook, and pen. Someone else put their own hair in there too. We pray for wisdom and beauty in our next lives.
A temple would be incomplete without a main hall. The boundary stones are called Sima, meaning symbol, evidence, or marker. The Sima stones can be made of precious wood or stone, but they must meet Buddhist conventions.
The main hall of the Taroi Dimchak Pagoda, located in Ward 10, Sokchang City, was constructed over nearly 6 years, with total costs exceeding $485,000 donated by the public. This elaborate building features sophisticated architecture and patterns representative of the Khmer ethnic cultural identity.
The local authority coordinated with the pagoda's management board to organize the Sima boundary ceremony. This is a crucial ceremony for the Khmer ethnic people. It is also a festive event for other ethnic groups in the ward, strengthening national unity.
Sokchang Province is home to 92 Khmer pagodas. The collaborative efforts to restore and construct new main halls in these pagodas reflect the party and state's policy of ensuring freedom of belief and religion for the ethnic Khmer community.
At 119 years old, Trịnh Thị Khương is officially the oldest living person in Vietnam, according to the relevant identification documents. She is older than Janine Coleman, the oldest person in history verified by Guinness World Records. For the children and grandchildren of Trịnh Thị Khương, there is simply no bigger joy than celebrating another one of her birthday while she physically and mentally well.
At 119 years old, Trịnh Thị Khương can still read, eat, and perform daily activities independently. Born in 1905, she is the verified oldest living person in Vietnam.
There are no tips. We simply take great care of her so she can enjoy a long, happy life.
Trịnh Thị Khương was born in Thanh Hóa province and is currently living with her daughter in Long Khánh City, Đồng Nai province. She has 7 children, 150 grandchildren, and great-grandchildren. She enjoys reading poetry and talking out to her children and grandchildren.
The good of heart is always rewarded with a blissful and fulfilled life. I have my children and grandchildren to take care of me. I'm not bothered by money at all.
My grandmother really enjoys the company of her children and grandchildren. She can talk to them without a moment's rest.
Being an extrovert at heart, the 119-year-old welcomes guests almost every day. Meeting people on a daily basis has made her life more joyful and pleasant. Local authorities are completing paperwork to have her recognized by the Guinness World Records as the oldest living person in Vietnam.
For many fishing crews in Cây Găng Coast Village, Hàm Thuận Nam District, Bình Thuận Province, abandoning their trade due to exhausted marine stocks remain a vivid memory. Fortunately, those locals were able to fish again after years of collective nature restoration efforts. They have now become aware of what should be done to preserve the surrounding environment. More to follow.
I want to start a feather clam cultivation project in Thuan Quy because its natural population is almost wiped out. I want to fix it for the sake of our future generations. When I received the letter, I felt that I hadn't fulfilled my responsibility towards the local people. I felt the urge to realize their wishes.
Motivated by the message, Huỳnh Quang Huy initiated measures to restore the area's natural population of feather clams. A 16-kilometer square clam production area with more than 100 tons of breeding feather clams was assigned under the management of Phạm Cuồng and 50 other households.
During the clam harvesting season, we only harvest up to 30 clams per kilogram. The clams are not harvested if there are less than 30 scallops per kilogram.
Ba Linh always remembers his hometown's rich offshore waters. When nothing was left to fish, he went ashore to earn a living. He then became a pioneer in protecting our local sea resources. His work as a project leader was far from easy from the start.
I remember being stoned and cursed at when I first started this project using state funding. Luckily, the stoning and cursing stopped when we produced pronounced results. In 2023, we could even revive the silver shrimp, which had disappeared since 1976.
We communicate the possible coordinates that have the most fish and squid. From there, people know where to fish, and more have joined our program. Thanks to these sustainable fishing programs, people have turned their lives around in this fishing village or earned big money. They thank me with their whole hearts, and that makes me feel deeply rewarded.
The Hàm Thuận Nam district fishing fleet continues to experience joy and fulfillment on their voyages in the far waters.
Coming up next in our war news, Houthi vows to attack more shipping lanes. And South Korean, U.S. troops stage large-scale joint air assault drills. The leaders of Yemen's Houthis said on Thursday that the group will continue to target vessels to prevent Israel-linked ships from passing through the Indian Ocean towards the Cape of Good Hope. The announcement was made amid escalating tensions in the Red Sea, forcing firms to reroute ships. The Houthis have been attacking ships in the Red Sea and Gulf of Aden since November 2023, and in a self-proclaimed campaign of solidarity with Palestinians during Israel war with Hamas in Gaza. South Korea and the United States held large-scale combined air assault drills in various locations nationwide this week to strengthen joint operational capabilities. The 5-day drills involved some 1,400 personnel and over 40 helicopters and transport aircraft. The South Korean Army stated that the exercise with the U.S. troops was designed to strengthen wartime operational capabilities and combined and joint operational capabilities. The drills were connected to the Allied annual Freedom Shield exercise designed to bolster deterrence against North Korea, nuclear and missile threats. Japan's cabinet on Tuesday approved legislation that would require more companies to release information on paternity leave usage, among other measures, to encourage fathers to contribute more at home and help curb the falling birth rate. This would help prospective employees choose an employer and encourage companies to offer more parenting-friendly environments. Companies would be required to allow remote work for parents until their children turn 3. In addition, an existing ban on overtime work would be extended to the start of elementary school. The government is looking to start implementing these measures in the fiscal year 2025. They marked the latest efforts of the Japanese government to address men's low participation in housework, one of the main drivers of the country's falling birth rate. And now, as usual, let's continue with the weather forecast. And that's it for this hour on VTV News. To rewatch the program, you can log on to VTVgo.vn or download our mobile application VTVgo. Thanks for watching and goodbye for now.